And hello my Angelites, this is Angel Terri here with a new Let's Play of Lords of Xulima, a story of gods and humans. Now, I had gotten this game some time ago, so I have played a bit of it. So this would be sort of like a semi-blind Let's Play, at least up, until the part of the game that I got to. One thing I will say that I do have a mod. It's called Hate Food. Now, it doesn't stop me from eating food. What it does is it cuts down on the prices of the large bulk of food because it can get really expensive, especially in the beginning of the game. So, I can still collect food and still use it. It won't cost as much. And that's really the only mod that I have on right now. So, let's start a new game. And we're going to be playing on normal.
So deep was I sleeping that I felt as if I were drowning in the darkness and silence, as if time itself had stopped. I was on the Isle of Brina, far from the great war that consumed the grand continent of Rodinia. I heard a voice whispering in my ears, and I felt as if my body was being lifted up. I could not open my eyes, but I could see the firmament clearly, as if I had been pulled up to the stars.
Gowlin, hear the voice of Golat, the architect, the master of dreams and constructor of matter. The world is in agony. The guardian of souls is gaining power over the lords of Xulima. Our strength diminishes. I have watched you from the stars. I have chosen you to be my herald, my hand on earth. You must complete the mission I am giving you. Eradicate the evil that profanes the divine temples of the Creators. Gather your party and sail to Xulima, where no other men from the west have set foot. Let the currents of Naliet and the breath of Taliet guide you to your destiny.
The voice trailed into the stars, like a whisper carried away on the winds. Finally, I was able to open my eyes. Had it all been a dream? I wished it were so, but I knew it was real.
Okay, now you must generate the group of 5 characters that will accompany Gowlin on his trip. You can never get rid of Gowlin because Gowlin is, the herald, the special guy. So you're making 5 other people to go with you. Alright, so we're going to create our party. So Gowlin is an explorer. Okay, so gender does not matter and there's no actual race choice, so you're always a human. Alright, now when I had played before, the first time I played, I had a paladin, a soldier, a rogue, a thief, a cleric, and I had a soldier, a thief, a cleric, a mage, and a bard. The bard, to me, is too much of a jack of all trades because he never really felt good in any way, like they weren't good one way or bad another. So I'm not going to be using a bard, but we are going to start with a soldier. Okay, soldiers are warriors who have been trained in the wielding of weapons and execution of powerful techniques. Able to handle complex weapons with relative ease and equip the heaviest of armors, the soldier is a sturdy frontline combatant. So what you see here is essentially everything that they start with. So they start with some resistances. They're initially, they know maces and hammers, swords, axes, bows and crossbows, armors, and pole weapons, and then there's the starting attributes. Sir. Now that sounds like something from Final Fantasy. We don't want to do that. Let's do Sir Roland. Okay. Now, Gowlin worships Golod, which is experience gain. So we have Naliet, who is the Lady of the Siege, and she gives maximum hit points of 5%. Disciple of Taliet, who's the Lady of the Winds, is combat speed 5%. Kursket is the Lord of Stone and Earth. He gives you strength +3. Valvet is the Lord of Fire and Fury, and he gives you agility +4. Fabret is the Lady of Nature. She is evasion +10. Raznet is the Lady of the Beasts. She gives a combat initiative of 15%. Golot, of course, is the Master of Dreams and Works, and he gives experience gained. Alneat is the Lord of Radiance and Life, and he gives maximum power of 5%. And Disciple of Yule is the Lord of Darkness and Death. He's the guy that we're actually fighting against. And he gives resistances, which is honestly not that big of a deal. You can get a lot of resistances in this game in the beginning. So for my soldier, I think I'm going to give him maximum hit points. Now, we can start with any one of these weapons. We have points and all this stuff. So axes cause wounds. And what wounds do is the more they stack, the more wounds you have, the more you're going to fail at casting spells and using attack abilities. Maces and hammers stun you. I don't remember if they stack, but if you can get a stun on certain creatures, it'll save your life. Bows and crossbows can be used from the back row, and they can also apply wounds on a successful hit. Okay, so not as much as axes. Okay. From what I recall, the bows are what has the excuse me, the ability to do the. It has the buff or debuff, whatever on it. Swords cause bleeding, which bypass armor, and every time a character bleeds, they get more hit points off. So you can stack bleeding, and that is like one thing that had me survive like a lot of certain fights I was doing. Pole weapons or can be used from the back row, and they can have wounds or stunning on them. So the thing with poles and bows and crossbows is they can do diva buffs on them, but they're not as strong as these. So I'm actually going to give you swords. Okay. Now, I want to have 2 fighters in the front with Gowlin. I think I'm going to do a barbarian. Oops, 1 second, there we go. Barbarian, where are you? Here you are. Barbarians are the most battle-hardened of all warriors, wielding their instincts like a weapon. The barbarians' physical strength and stamina are unmatched, so it comes as no surprise that they rely on brute force rather than technique to overcome their foes. Even a lightly armored barbarian can be fairly difficult to take down. Magic Realm Mentalism. Wonder if Mentalism is their special abilities. Okay. I kind of wish there was a random name button. I'm not good at names this way. And I'm going to give her... See, the resistances might be nice, but I think I'm going to give her the strength. And you're going to start with axes. All right. So next, I'm going to do a male rogue, thief, excuse me. Thieves, despite their questionable origins, are masters in the manipulation of mechanical objects and devices. They have an affinity toward picking locks, as well as spotting and disarming lethal traps. In addition, the thief's cunning allows him to perceive secret doors and hidden switches which most would miss. In combat, they favor fast strikes and mobility. Now, the one thing that's really great about Thief is they're the only people who can throw shurikens that, if they hit, can do a lot of bleeding damage. So, and I also believe they're the only ones that can disarm traps and lockpicks, because Gowlin also has perception, but he can't do lockpicking or trap disarming. So I highly suggest getting a Thief. Okay. That's a nice name. We'll keep that. I kind of want to give you either agility or evasion, because I don't think, does anyone do speed? Oh, you do speed. We're having problems with spammers calling us, but they're using our own phone number. You know what? I'm going to give him evasion, and you're going to use bows and crossbows. Next will be our cleric. I like this one. All right, cleric. Clerics are devoted to a deity and enjoy a unique communion with the chosen god. So long as they are devoted, they are able to manifest various divine powers in times of need. These powers can protect a group, repel wicked beings, and heal injuries. Okay. I'm going to name this myself. Okay. I always like being the healer. And I'm going to give you combat initiative. I want you to go faster. We're going to give you pull weapons. And the last character is going to be a mage. This picture always freaks me out, only because the head seems like, you know how like everyone else's head seems like, I don't know, proportionate, and his just doesn't. It's kind of creepy. Ugh. All right, well, you are going to be a mage. Mages are learned and wise, able to understand both physical and elemental laws. They are adept at exploiting enemy vulnerabilities due to the wide array of spells at their disposal. While raging storms and inferno are within their fingertips, mages find it difficult to withstand the rigors of frontline combat. Okay, that's fine. And you are going to get the experience boost because I want to get them to level quicker, because their mages have good stuff, like there's a frost spell that'll freeze enemies and then they can't move, because there's particular things that we fight that will tear your hair out due to all the status effects they do on you, and it hits a lot of people. Alright, so I wish to go with this group. Start the adventure.
It was said that it was to be the darkest and bloodiest age in the history of man. On the great continent of Rodinia, the two largest kingdoms began a great war that would drag every country and village into an endless stretch of death and chaos. Many begged and prayed to the gods for help, but the gods never answered. In the safety of Brina, a small island in the far east of Rodinia, the echoes of war thundered louder with each passing day. In those ill-fated times, those who govern our destiny decided that I, Gowlin the explorer and navigator, would do my part to shape history. So I was chosen by Golat, the master of works, to be his herald on Earth. In that time, I understood very little of the true meaning of those grave and profound words. The gods who once lived on the lost continent of Xulima years ago were engaged in battle with the Guardian of Souls. And as their power waned, the power of their enemies waxed. Golat commanded me to sail to Xulima, and once there, liberate the sacred temples of the divine. Little hope remained in the world, as long as our Lord Protectors continued their battles beyond the distant stars. Without them, nothing could stop the ruin of Rodinia. And so, it was then that I gathered my allies and set sail from Brina to the east. The wind and the currents guided us across the vast ocean of Morovia. The clouds and the mists were our constant and only companions. 2 weeks later, the clouds divided, and at last we felt the light of the sun once more. And there it was. Beyond the horizon, the land of legend. Xulima, home of the creators.
All right, so movement is pretty basic. You click with your left mouse in the area where you want to walk to. You hold down the control key to run. You can toggle auto run with the alt key. You could use the right mouse button at any time you want more information or help with something on the screen, and then you can use the WASD to move around. Suddenly you feel like something is vibrating below your feet. You look down and notice something is shining under a pile of dirt. It looks like an ancient medallion. When you touch it, you feel like its energy passes through your body, and for a moment you are paralyzed. Seconds later, without knowing how, the medallion is now hanging from your neck. Okay, so this is our UI. Alright, starting from this side, here's all our characters. It shows their picture, the name, this is their level, hit points, PP points, okay. You can't rearrange how they look this way, I don't think so. No, okay. Then down here you have the day and the time. One moment, everyone. Sorry about that, my Discord was still on. So get to the time, this is our food, and it shows we have 1 day of food. This is our coins. We have torches. This will tell us how many torches we have. Torches will burn out if you constantly have them on, so turn them off when it's daytime, or you can see where you're going, because it'll start to really build up on cost if you need, if you use a lot of torches. This is our camping. We can recover HP, PP, and heal from most injuries, but we will use up food. So you can rest 8 hours 1 day until everyone is healed, or no limit. So we'll use that later. Here's, of course, is our mini-map. And then we have this button. Pardon me. First thing we need to do is figuring out our combat formation. One thing you need to note, these guys are always in the attack position. These guys are always in the defend. Nobody can be in a blank spot. No one can be in a spot if there's nobody in front of them, because they'll automatically pop to the front, okay? What I like to do is I like to have the heaviest person sort of in the middle here, because they seem to be the first one that gets attacked. If I keep Gowan over here, he usually doesn't get hit a lot. And I have my mage behind you. I think we'll do it that way, okay? This button here, herbal recipes, I'll touch on it a little bit later when I talk about herbs themselves, but essentially, when you collect certain amounts of herbs, you can then use them to give to one of your characters, which you choose down here, and I'll give them something. Like if I have 10 of La Cartia and I give it to my rogue here, he'll get 1 agility point, okay? This is our journal. You can see everything in there. It's a lot to read, so I don't know if I'll go over that. It's a lot to read. We have our message log and our options. Okay, so let's see what this is here. The Talisman of Golot. The Talisman of Golot seems to be made from ormal, a material almost indestructible. It feels cold in your hand and glows with a blue light that appears to be beating. You feel as if he harbored some kind of consciousness.
Ready to serve, my lord.
The talisman is cold to the touch, but when you make contact, you can feel it vibrate in your hand. Suddenly, the talisman lights up. A voice that only you can hear begins to reverberate in your head. The voice is ancient and wise, with a slight metallic echo. Who dares awake the voice of Golot from his slumber? Speak, whoever you are. If you are not worthy to possess me, you will suffer the wrath of the most powerful divine artifact created by Golot, the master of works. Huh? I am Gowlin. I found you here on the ground. You were lost. Gowlin the explorer?
The navigator from beyond the great sea?
So I am.
Then it is you! The Herald of Golot. Oh, forgive the impertinent words of this ancient and insensitive artifact. My owner hid me here for you alone to find me. My destiny is nothing less than to serve the Herald of Golot in the absence of the Master.
Because you know how, like artifacts, it would be just like, but, this is actually what the artifact sounds like. Well, I accept your assistance with pleasure, Talisman.
My lord, what can your humble servant do for you?
All right, well, tell me about yourself.
I am the second divine artifact created by Master Golot to aid mortals. To them, I am known as the voice of Golot.
And what was the first artifact?
The Hand of Golot was the first. It is a master key, the only thing that can lead mortals to the powerful divine artifacts, which were left in Xulima by the Zulnari thousands of years ago.
And now you belong to me?
Oh, I only belong to the Master. He has commanded me to serve and aid you in your divine mission while he is not present here in the world.
Okay. So, how can you help me?
My knowledge is at your disposal, my lord. My words are always wise, for I am the voice of Golot, and my counsel will be of great use to you through your mission. Furthermore, there are other gifts that the Master has bestowed on me. You need only ask, and I will use them to aid you. However, my powers are not without limit and are quickly exhausted.
And how do you recuperate your powers?
That is a typo. My powers depend on my bearer. As long as he continues to acquire knowledge and power, my reserves will replenish little by little. I also have the ability to detect spheres of power that exist in the world. If you encounter one, do not fear, but make your way to it and I will be able to absorb its power. Each gift I bear has a different cost associated with it. Take care and only avail yourself of my abilities when you truly need them.
Excuse me. So essentially, these are the different things that the talisman can do. Because right now the talisman is at 10% power. At 20% power, we can either ask for food or give us gold. At 30% power, we can restore life and health to one of my companions or to teleport me to someplace safe. At 40%, we can ask it to improve the attributes of one of my companions. At 50%, to instruct one of my companions with your wisdom so that they can improve their abilities. And at 100, which is what I normally save for, you ask it to help all of you to improve your abilities. And you can ask if you feel lost.
So, your sacred mission is to purge the evil that corrupts the divine temples. Look for more information about the temples in the village of Velagarn.
Okay, so that's that guy. This button up here seems to like make a... Oh, it shows the interface. Okay, I just show interface. All right, now up here are different things we can see. So first, this is our inventory button. We'll have different stacks on here when we're in battle, but right now we can We can choose our usables, which shows torch, and this will also show if you have potions, salves, shurikens, that kind of dealio. All right. Now, if you have a healer targeted, it'll come up. This is your healing thing. I think it's anything you can do out of combat. So, you know, they got you light heal, whatever. All right. Now, this is our stats and inventory screen. So we'll stick with Gowan here. So first, we got his thing here. So explorer. Explorers are experts in the knowledge of nature, wildlife, and navigation. They can guide the group through difficult terrains, find hidden herbs, and camouflage the party from enemy ambushes. They are also skilled fighters and can create poisons to make their weapons of choice even more lethal. Okay. And then this is our level and bar. Now, so what we have here, we first have our attributes. Strength, constitution, agility, speed, and energy. So starting with strength, let's see, every 2 points above 8 increases the damage of physical attacks by 1. Every 5 points above 10, you gain an extra damage point. Maximum armor weight capacity and ability to equip heavy weapons. Now, there's one thing you need to keep in mind. This right here is your maximum armor weight capacity, okay? So that's what strength affects. This number here is your inventory weight capacity, which is what your constitution affects, okay? These are two different numbers from two different stats. Don't get them confused, because I did that in the beginning. Because when you're fighters, so like pretty much Gowan, Sir Roland, and Ogatara need to keep their strength up. And anyone else who I want to wear heavy armors for, because as you get better armor, they get heavier, so you need to have this stat up higher. Alright, so Constitution. Each point between 1 and 10 increases total hit points by 2. Each point above 10 increases total hit points by 4. And total inventory weight that the party can carry. I'm assuming it's cumulative? I don't know. I'll be guessing. With Agility, weapon hit chance and potency of weapon effects, defense against physical damage, ability to equip complex weapons, chance to successfully cast a spell while afflicted by wounds. Now, for people who I give high strength to in order to wear all the heavy armor, I don't really worry too much about agility. Because especially with defense against physical damage, though the agility can affect the potency of weapon effects, which we'll get into in a minute. But agility is definite for any spellcasters because, like I had mentioned before, wounds, if you get too many stacks of wounds, you won't be casting anything because you'll be hurt too bad. Speed is evasion against physical attacks, time of recovery between combat actions, and combat initiative, which combatant takes their first turn in battle. Especially when it comes to evasion, I usually give evasion to my back row because they'll still get hit with things because a lot of enemies can hit like down a row or target your back line. So that's important, like for mages and all. And combat initiative, I really focus that on my back three as well, because if I can get my mage out, they can get out more of the debuffs like freezing and bleeding and all. For my cleric, of course, if she needs to heal or buff. And for my thief, to use his shurikens. Now, energy is each point between 1 and 10 increases total power points by 1. Each point above 10 increases total power points by 2. Now, they're most important for like casters like cleric and mages. And though people like Galen and my fighter will have abilities later on that will use power points, I try to focus on one, no more than 2 of them, because I don't always put a lot of energy into their stats. I'd rather, do the other stats. But, you do how you go. Here's our resistances: fire, ice, lightning, poison, magic, and mental. I keep when I say psychic, it's mental. This is the total of your defense. And then, of course, here's where you can equip everything. So Galen starts with an axe and his talisman of Golot, which you can't take off. It's pretty much like fused to you. Okay, so your hit points, your power points. So we have an attack number, modifies hit chance and maximum damage in combat, as well as the potency of bleed, stun, and wound effects, depending on the equipped weapon. And then it tells what modified it. So my agility modifier, my skill with axes, and any weapon modifier that's on the axe itself. It seems confusing, like when I'm talking about it now, but once you get into the game and really see what the different things have, it's not too bad. Max damage indicates the maximum amount of damage and hit points that can be inflicted with normal attacks. This value benefits from the strength of the tip root. So essentially what it means is, this is the hit chance and the maximum damage in combat. This shows with normal attacks I can do up to 7 HP, and I think it could modify it with another 15. I'm not friggin' sure. All I know is get these numbers up. This one is stun duration, if I have any stuns attached to my weapons. This is if I have any bleeding. This is if I have any wounds, which of course axes wound automatically. This is the initiative, which is affected by your speed, and evasion, which is affected by your speed. Okay, simple enough. Then we come over to the inventory. So here's a gold. So we have a weapon, armor, accessory, potion, scrolls, miscellaneous items, and then special items. Okay. So next tab. This is our combat. So now you said it starts with 2. Do you have 2 in there? Yeah, you do. Okay. So this is for things like for any with the weapons like axes, swords, bows, and crossbows. Armor training. You need that in order to help with wearing particular armor and to raise up your maximum armor weight. Galen starts with perception, which I will not raise for him because perception, all that is going to my thief. Okay. Next tab is knowledge. So he starts with the knowledge of herbs, ability to collect or spot concealed herbs, fruit, and mushrooms. More supplies can be gathered each time such items are collected. Now, there's people who believe that you should wait to pick up any herbs until your knowledge of herbs is higher, because the higher you get with it, the more doses you get with each one. So in the beginning, if you pull an herb, you can get 1 herb. If later on, if you pull an herb, you can get 5 for each time you harvest it. So when I played before, I didn't do that, but I think I might do that this time. Like, I'll wait to pull the herbs up because the herbs don't respawn as far as I know. Bushes that have food on them will respawn, but herbs will not. And here we have camouflage. The explorer applies his mastery over natural concealment to disguise the entire group. Allows the party to avoid encounters with wandering enemies. Powerful enemies cost more to avoid, but increasing the skills level will reduce how much it costs. This is mainly used when you're caught in combat. You'll have an option to fight or to use camouflage. I think it's fight, flee, and use camouflage to try to sneak away. It's actually pretty useful in case you're like it, because I like to just go all over and explore, and then if you get stuck in a battle that's like stronger than you are, so you don't die. Now the Divine Realm, if we go down here, like my cleric has the Divine Realm. Do you have the Divine Realm too? No, you don't. So you have a light heal, and it tells this targets one ally. The PP cost is 4, restores 6 to 10 hit points, and I believe if you level it up, it restores more hit points, and it can cost more. Energy Realm is where things like fire spells, ice, lightning, poison, that stuff are, so my mage starts with fire incantation. And mentalism, I don't think anybody has, no. See, like my thief here, like he has lockpicking and trap disarming. You don't have anything. Okay. Let's see, hammer, armor. See, like he starts swords, daggers, bows and crossbows, shurikens. Improves the character's ability to hit with shurikens during combat. Attack plus 26, max damage plus 10, causes plus 5 points of bleeding damage per turn. So that's like a godsend, that stuff. Oh, you get rage. What is this? A barbarian's unbridled fury allows him to score critical hits more often in combat. Oh, okay. Restores armor. Okay. So that's essentially the UI right here. So when we come back, we will start to explore this island that we can't get away from, because if you click on the ship, it says a strong current seems to drag everything to the continent, preventing your sailboat, the Velamore, from leaving the shore. What is it that moves the tides of Xulima? It seems unnatural. That's right, my friends. We are here, and we're here to stay. All right, so this is Angel Terri. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye.